The family of a woman who disappeared in Las Vegas more than a week ago says they're getting disturbing messages from her phone.
It's been 10 days. It's been 10 days. Where is she?
63-year-old Alisa Goods was in Vegas visiting a friend who says she left to go to a nearby drugstore on August 8th and never came back. Goods' niece kept calling her on cell phone. Days later, someone answered, hung up, and started texting, claiming to be Goods and asking for Bitcoin.
So I'm bringing you your debrief from the Upper East Side because this is where 63-year-old Alisa Goods lives. Fabulous African-American woman, retired from childcare, living her best life, fit, cute little salt and pepper hair, shortcut in Vegas, visiting a friend, went to CVS Saturday, August 8th, and never came back, just disappeared without a trace. I did just hear back from her daughter, Kristen, in Las Vegas, who just confirmed she made it to the CVS. So now we don't know what happened to Goods after that. First, Kristen went out there because they say for 10 days they really haven't gotten anything from the Las Vegas Police Department. So the friend she was staying with, she disappeared on the 8th. The person she was staying with didn't file the police report until the 10th.
Are you trying to get gas right now for the car? A simple question sent to a woman's niece from the woman's own phone number. Yes? One word back. And that's the moment Alana Calloway knew something was wrong. Because her aunt, a 63-year-old grandmother named Alisa Goods, doesn't drive. She'd never owned a car, never rented one, not once, in 9 trips to Las Vegas. So if that wasn't Alisa asking for gas money, then who was? And where was the real Alisa Goods?
It has now been 11 days since anyone has seen Alisa Goods. She is 63 years old. She lives on the Upper East Side. She went missing on a trip to Las Vegas. She was staying with a friend there named Roger John, who told a local TV station that she usually stays with him when she visits Las Vegas. John says that she left his apartment, got on a bus, and went to a CVS nearby on Saturday, August 8th. She has not been seen since. Here's a concerning wrinkle. Her family members say that 1 week ago they started getting text messages from her phone, but are wary about who's sending them. In one message that Goods' niece, Alana Calloway, shared, the sender asked for Bitcoin. Calloway replied that she would get Kelly to help. Well, since there's no one named Kelly in the family, Calloway thinks that had her aunt been on the other end, she would have asked, well, who's Kelly? The sender did not ask that. Calloway says this is very uncharacteristic of her aunt to just vanish and go missing.
This is the case of Alisa Goods, a woman who disappeared on an ordinary afternoon in Las Vegas. And 10 days later, someone using her phone started asking her family for money. What you're about to hear is everything that's actually known, not everything that's been guessed. Her family believes those messages are proof someone else has her phone, and maybe her. Police say there's nothing yet to suggest she's in danger at all. Both of those things can't fully be true at the same time, and right now, nobody can tell you which one is. This case is still open. As of the day this was written, Alisa Goods has not been found.
There she is right here. Her name is Alisa Goods. She's 63 years old. Now, her family says she left a friend's house and an apartment on August 8th to take a bus to someplace and I mean, basically has vanished. So, I mean, at this point, family, friends, they don't know what is going on. All right, let's bring in Robert Moses. Robert, I know you actually just got off the phone with a family member, but before we get to that interview, can you just try to set the scene a little bit, but can you just sort of talk us through the nuts and bolts of what we're seeing here?
Yeah, Alisa Goods, she is 63 years old. She went out to Las Vegas to stay with this friend, a man named Roger John. She has stayed with him before, so this is not unusual at all. And on August 8th, so 11 days ago, in Roger John's telling, she leaves his house to go to a local CVS about a mile away.
Okay.
Because she needs some iron pills. So she gets on a bus and she's not seen after that.
So she's doing like a rant. It's not like she was out at night or she was, you go to Vegas, you have a good time.
12:45 in the afternoon.
No matter the age, you just want to have a good time. But this is like during the day. She's going to get some medication. Never seen again. When was that again? When was that?
That was August 8th, so 11 days ago.
Okay.
Understandably, they're getting very worried.
Of course.
And then they get even more concerned about a week ago because then they start to get text messages from her phone.
Wow.
Asking for money. And in at least one case, the sender asks for Bitcoin, which they say is very strange. And
that's the message right there. Right?
So that's the message. And then I wanted, if we can just pause this for a second, look at where it says, Kelly said she will send it. So this is Alisa Goods' niece writing that.
So trying to fake the writer out in some way.
Right.
For whoever's writing that, they're trying to say like, okay, is this really you? I'm going to say the name Kelly. And why did they do that?
And because there is no Kelly in the family, and so the niece knows that if this were truly Alisa Goods on the other end, she'd say, "Wait a second, who are you talking about? Who's Kelly?"
Right. So they're very suspicious.
They're extremely suspicious.
And so you talked to, did you talk to the daughter this morning? I mean, within the last hour? So
within the last hour, I spoke to Kristen Goods. She is the daughter of Alisa Goods. Alisa has 3 kids. One is deceased. Kristen is her daughter. And she just got back from Las Vegas. So literally she was in the car coming from the airport. She said, I wanted to Zoom with her. And she's like, I'm sorry, I'm in the car. I'm driving. I just need to get a little bit of sleep. But I was able to speak with her for a few minutes about the latest on the case and where.
Okay, so when we watch this, you're on the phone and there's like a video call. So let's take a listen if we can.
We didn't get any whereabout news, but we did get that there's been some subpoenas thrown around to try to get some additional information or some footage from local businesses and stuff like that, as well as her credit cards and bank statements. But in terms of narrowing down where she is, we don't have that. We don't know.
So
it's still a question mark.
She lives on the Upper East Side, is that right?
That's right.
Okay. And did she live in Brooklyn previously?
Yes, that's right.
Are you at all suspicious of her friend Roger and the fact that it took him 2 days to file a missing persons report?
No, I'm not. And so I was initially, but in terms of speaking to the lieutenant yesterday, the way it played out and the way Roger described it is exactly how it went. I am very much in touch with my mom's sister. I was on the phone with her that day when Roger called and he said he didn't want to alarm anyone, but she hadn't showed back up after she said she was going to the pharmacy and to come right back.
Pause it there just for a second, because just to kind of go over what she was saying there. First thing she said, they're still trying to find some surveillance video, right? They're still trying to track down exactly where she was, what was happening. And then the second element is what I think a lot of people are wondering, okay, well, in these kind of situations, who was the last person who saw her? And it would be this gentleman who you mentioned. But she says she's not worried, or she's not at this moment alarmed about how that conversation went down.
When we all in the newsroom heard this story this morning, everyone naturally says, well, who's the last one to see her? Roger John, her friend with whom she was staying.
Yeah.
So then the suspicion goes to him. Well, according to Kristen Goods, Roger's story checks out. He was where he claims to have been. The police checked out his story. It checks out. So it appears as though at this point, at least in Kristen's telling here, that Roger is not a suspect.
And we do want to get to a little bit more of the interview. But before we do, one of the things that we do here at Newsroom Live is we ask people to scan that QR code and they can sort of interact with us. I do have a question from a viewer this morning. They want to know if this has been elevated into an actual police investigation in Las Vegas at this point.
They are investigating it. Now, you'll hear this a little bit later on in my conversation. We'll get to it here in a second. But the question is, has it been a big enough priority? And Kristen says, of course, any family member is going to say they're not giving it enough attention. But she says because her mother is vivacious with no sort of medical issue, no mental impairment, in her telling, the police have not treated it with the kind of urgency that she feels it deserves. Because remember, with the passage of time, people forget things.
Yeah.
If someone sees something, they're like, okay, tomorrow if I ask you, hey, what'd you eat yesterday? Chances are you probably are not going to remember.
Yeah, the 48 hours, of course, is critical. So let's jump back into this interview. We listened to the first 2 minutes or so. About 2 minutes left. What do you ask her here, just to set it up a little bit?
So we'll talk about kind of where the investigation stands and what she wants, how our viewers can help in the search for her mother.
Okay, let's listen.
And ultimately, my aunt said, well, maybe she's, somewhere sleeping or doing something where she's sleeping. And, she's a heavy sleeper. So maybe, try again in the morning. And if you don't get her sometime in the morning, call me back. Long and short, he did call back, as she explained to him. And he said if she doesn't show up by the afternoon, call and file a police report. What we did not know is that in terms of a police report for missing persons, there's a cutoff in Vegas. It's like 5 o'clock their time. So when he went to go do it, they had already closed. And so he had to do it the next business day, which is the reason for the delay. But I don't know Roger personally, and so I also had those thoughts too. Hey, he's the last person to see her. He's filing this report and saying all these different things. Has he been investigated? According to the lieutenant yesterday, he basically explained to me that they went out to Roger's home. There's nothing to see there. Roger was digitally confirmed to be where he said he was. He wasn't even in the house. When she left, he left. He had left prior to her leaving. And where he said he was is where he was digitally. And he turned over his phone and all of that good stuff. So he's not a suspect.
What do you want people to know? What do you want our viewers to know? How can people help?
Okay, so when it comes to this situation, I believe tips are going to crack the case. My mom's a very bubbly, vivacious person. When you see her, she does catch your eye. So anything that someone could remember, somebody who was in that area, seeing that maybe was out of the norm, that they could report, could truly, truly help us. We are at a loss. Because of the disadvantage of, I believe, the police department actually treating this as if it wasn't that important. We were told it wasn't a priority because she didn't have any mental disabilities and she wasn't structurally like having any type of dementia or anything like that. And so we lost time with that statement right there that it was not a priority case. And now we don't know. What we could have obtained or learned from whoever was, at the time of that disappearance in the area, because either they probably don't remember or put it off. It's just so many different things that I'm thinking about when it comes to that. But I want the viewers to know that if anybody was in that area and they could remember anything, that little tremendous thought could be the thing that helps us find her.
You could hear her emotional there. I just want to reset the scene just in case anyone's joining us a little later here. But we're talking to the family of a New York grandmother of 5, disappeared in Vegas. Her family then starts getting these strange messages from her phone asking for money. Her name is Alisa Goods. She's 63 years old. And just, Robert, as we sort of wrap up here, anything else that you want to add to what sort of where the investigation is and sort of what might happen next?
Yeah, time is of the essence here. Anything could crack the case, as you heard Kristen say. I'm going to be staying in touch with her. She said that she would let me know if there are any developments. If she hears anything today, she's probably resting now after just getting back from Vegas. So as soon as anything happens, of course, let you know and keep you posted on the developments here.
All right. Robert Moses, thank you very much.
Here's what happened. Ask anyone in her family to describe her, and they don't start with facts. They start with her face. Always got her teeth showing, her daughter Kristen says. Always looking to say, "How are you doing?" People who meet Alisa Goods don't forget her. Her niece Alana calls her the kind of person who lights up any room she walks in. She's 63, a mother of 2, a grandmother of 5, and by every account, the center of gravity in a large, close family. Kristen says her mother has a routine most people would barely notice, but in this family, everyone knows it. She checks in, constantly. Small texts, quick calls, nothing dramatic, just contact. That matters. Because it means when Alisa Goods goes quiet, her family notices almost immediately. She isn't someone who drifts out of touch. She would never drop off the radar, Kristen says, and especially for this amount of time, it is alarming. Alisa grew up in Newark, New Jersey. These days, her family is spread across New York, Brooklyn, Manhattan's Upper East Side. Wherever she's physically living, her family says the same thing. She's the one who holds everyone together, which is part of why, on August 8th, when a routine trip to a pharmacy turned into 10 days of silence, nobody in this family believed, even for a moment, that she'd simply gone quiet on her own. Las Vegas wasn't new to Alisa Goods. She'd been coming for years. This was actually her second trip of 2026 alone. She always stayed with the same person, a friend named Roger John. John and Goods had known each other for 9 years, long enough that when she visited, she didn't stay in a hotel. She stayed with him, like family. August 8th started like any other day of that visit. Around 1:45 in the afternoon, Goods told John she was heading out. Nothing unusual. She needed to pick up her prescription, iron pills, from a CVS a short bus ride away, near Paradise Road and Harmon Avenue. John watched her walk down the stairs from his apartment. That's the last time he saw her. He left the apartment himself about 15 minutes later, ran his own errands, and came back a few hours after that. She wasn't there. And at first, that didn't worry him. Goods sometimes stayed out. He figured she was still shopping, still out with her day. It's easy, looking back, to want that afternoon to feel different, to feel like a warning. But by every account, it didn't. It was just Tuesday, just an errand, just a woman getting her medication and planning to walk back in. According to the missing person report, the last confirmed sighting of Alisa Goods came at 1:40 in the afternoon, near the 4900 block of South Maryland Parkway, a few minutes from John's apartment, on her way to the bus stop. That's the anchor point. Everything before it, we can account for. Everything after it, for the next 10 days, is a gap. No confirmed sighting at the CVS, no confirmed sighting on the bus, no credit card activity, no phone location, nothing publicly reported that places her anywhere past that block at that time. 1:40 p.m. That's where the known story of Alisa Goods stops, and the missing part begins. By that evening, Roger John started calling her. No answer. He tried again, texted her, nothing. He told reporters later that her phone seemed to just stop, like it had gone dark. No calls getting through, no texts delivering. For one night, that's unsettling, but not unheard of. Phones die, people lose signal. People decide to sleep somewhere else and forget to charge a phone, but one night became 2. And somewhere in those 2 days, John made the call that turns a bad feeling into a case file. He reached out to Goods' family in New York. Her family's reaction was immediate. File a report. Don't wait. John says it still took him time to actually do it, But on August 10th, 2 days after Alisa Goods walked down those stairs, he filed a missing person report with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. From that point forward, this stopped being a friend's worry. It became a case number. The case was logged under number LLV 2608-00031980. Alisa Goods, officially now a missing adult. That classification matters, and it's worth slowing down on, because it shapes everything that happens next. A missing adult case is not the same, procedurally, as a missing child, or a missing person believed to have a disability, or someone reported alongside signs of a crime. Adults are legally allowed to go missing on purpose. People leave, people need space, people start over. So when someone like Alisa Goods is reported missing, investigators don't start by assuming the worst. They start by ruling out the most common explanation first, that she left safely by choice. For her family, that starting point already felt wrong, because everything they knew about her, the constant check-ins, the routines, the person who would never drop off the radar, pointed the other way. Two systems of logic running at the same time from day one. The departments built on procedure, the families built on knowing her. At this point, here's what we actually know. Alisa Goods was last seen at 1:40 p.m. on August 8th. She was reported missing 2 days later, and her phone, the one no one could reach, was about to start working again. Just not, her family believes, in her hands. 2 days after the report was filed, 4 days into the silence, Alisa Goods' phone came back online. For a moment, that should have been good news. It wasn't her calling, it was a text to her niece, Alana Calloway, and it didn't say anything about where she'd been. You've already heard this exchange. Now here's what happened around it. Calloway didn't just get suspicious. She tested it. She told the person on the other end that someone named Kelly would be sending money. There is no Kelly, not in this family. Alisa Goods would have known that instantly, and said so. The person texting back didn't flinch, didn't ask who Kelly was, just kept going. That was alarming, Calloway said later. Every time the person texts back, it just felt like my heart was in my stomach, because I knew it wasn't my aunt. She tried something else too. She asked the person to just call her, said it was an emergency. The person avoided it, said their card wasn't working, said they were at a gas station. And that's the detail that doesn't sit right, because Alisa Goods doesn't drive. She'd never rented a car in Las Vegas. There was no gas station to be stranded at because there was no car to put gas in. So who was this? And if it wasn't her, where was the real Alisa Goods while someone used her phone to ask her family for money? The gas money request was just the opening. Within the same conversation, the ask changed. Now it wasn't $20 for gas. It was $40, then $50, and it wasn't cash anymore. It was Bitcoin. The person on the other end walked Calloway through it, step by step, how to buy Bitcoin through Cash App, how to send it. That detail matters. This wasn't a confused, panicked message from someone in trouble. It was instructional. Someone who knew exactly how they wanted to be paid and exactly how to walk a stranger through paying them. Every time Calloway pushed for more, a phone call, a video chat, anything that could confirm a face or a voice, the excuses shifted. The card wasn't working. They were at a gas station. They couldn't talk right now. Small excuses, the kind that are easy to say and hard to disprove over text. And in the meantime, still no sign of the real Alisa Goods. The texts were unsettling enough on their own, but they weren't the last time this family would hear from that. Number. Alisa Goods has a son too, Kevin Newton. And at some point during all of this, he got a call, not a text, an actual call from a voice claiming to be his mother. He recorded part of it. He asked her to get on video, to just show her face for 1 second so he'd know. She didn't. He asked her where she was. Home. One word, no address, no detail, just home. Think about what that word is supposed to do. It's supposed to be reassuring. It's supposed to close the question. And instead, for a family that has no idea where their mother actually is, it does the opposite. When he pushed for an actual address, the call disconnected. Newton later put what he was feeling into 6 words. He said, "Just give my mother back. I don't know what y'all got going on, but this ain't it." The family turned the recording, along with the text messages, over to police, which brings us to a harder question then: who is this? Once investigators had all of this, the texts, the recording, the inconsistencies, what did they actually do with it? Here's where this case gets genuinely difficult. Not because the facts are unclear, but because 2 reasonable conclusions can be drawn from the exact same facts. The family's reading is straightforward. Someone who isn't Alisa Goods has her phone. That person is asking for money, avoiding calls, avoiding video, giving vague answers. To them, that adds up to one thing. Someone else may have access to her, possibly against her will. Now here's the other reading, the one coming from Las Vegas police. A department spokesperson, Aden Ocampo, told NBC News that based on their detective work so far, Goods has been classified as a missing adult, and that there is, in his words, nothing to suggest she is in danger. Investigators, according to that statement, believe the calls and texts could be the result of something else entirely: spoofing. It's a real, well-documented tactic. Scammers monitor missing persons cases, sometimes lifting contact information straight off flyers or social media posts asking the public for help, then pose as the missing person or someone holding them to extract money from a grieving family. The FBI and the Department of Justice have both flagged this exact pattern as a growing trend nationally in 2026. People running this scam on families who are already in the worst moment of their lives. If that's what happened here, it doesn't make the text less cruel. It just means they might not be connected to where Alisa Goods actually is at all. 2 separate tragedies, tangled together by coincidence and cruelty, but, and this matters, police haven't confirmed that's what happened either. Spoofing is the working theory, not a conclusion, which means, as of right now, both are still on the table. Somebody using Alisa Goods' phone for money, and somewhere, unrelated or not, the real Alisa Goods still missing. While all of this was happening, the text, the call, the Bitcoin requests, the family says they were also fighting a second battle, getting anyone to treat the case with urgency. According to Calloway, when she finally reached a detective, the conversation didn't go the way she hoped. She says the detective told her that her aunt did not meet the qualifications of a priority, meaning, in Calloway's telling, that Goods didn't have a disability on record. To be clear, that's Calloway's account of the conversation. It is not a line police have confirmed publicly in those exact words, but whether or not that specific phrase was used, the feeling behind it was real for this family. Calloway told reporters plainly, she felt like her aunt's case wasn't being treated like it mattered, so they didn't wait. Roger John started putting up missing person flyers around Maryland Parkway and Tropicana, the same streets where Goods was last seen. Calloway started calling hospitals herself, then the coroner's office, then local jails and correctional facilities, ruling things out one by one on her own. None of it turned up anything. Not a match, not a lead, not a name. And then Alisa's daughter, Kristen, made a decision. She flew from the East Coast to Las Vegas herself. She met with detectives in person, sat across from them, asked her questions directly. She told reporters afterward that she didn't learn anything new. Her exact words, her goal was to give my mother a voice, because she didn't feel the family was getting anywhere over the phone. So here's where that leaves things. A family doing the investigative work themselves, hospitals, jails, flyers, a flight across the country, while still not knowing, days later, whether any of it is getting them closer to Alisa. So let's be exact about where this stands. As of August 20th, 2026, the day this was written, here is everything that is actually confirmed. Alisa Goods was last confirmed seen at 1:40 p.m. on August 8th near South Maryland Parkway in Las Vegas. She was reported missing on August 10th. Beginning August 12th, her family started receiving texts and at least one call from her phone number, requesting money and Bitcoin. Las Vegas police say there is currently nothing to suggest she is in danger, and believe the messages may be the result of spoofing, though that has not been confirmed as the explanation. The case remains open. There has been no arrest, no body has been found, no suspect has been named. And here's the honest part. This case is moving. It's entirely possible that by the time you're watching this, something has changed, for better or for worse. New information, a location, an answer. We'd rather tell you clearly what we don't know yet than fill that gap with guesses dressed up as answers. If there's an update by the time this reaches you, we'll say so, here, or in a follow-up. What hasn't changed, as far as we know, is this. A family is still waiting, and a 63-year-old woman who, by every account, has never gone quiet in her life, still hasn't been found. Go back to where we started. A phone that still works, a number that still receives texts. Somewhere, a battery still gets charged, a screen still lights up. That phone is the only piece of Alisa Goods anyone has heard from in over a week, and it still hasn't told anyone where she is. Maybe that phone is in the hands of someone running a cruel, opportunistic scam, cashing in on a family's worst fear, while Alisa Goods is somewhere else entirely, safe or not, but unconnected to any of this. Or maybe it isn't a coincidence at all. Maybe whoever has that phone knows exactly where she is, because they're the reason she hasn't come home. Right now, nobody outside of whoever sent those messages actually knows which one is true. What we do know is this. A woman who checked in with her family constantly has now gone silent for longer than she ever has in her life. And the only messages coming from her number aren't asking for help finding her way home. They're asking for money. If you know anything, if you were in Las Vegas near Maryland Parkway and Tropicana on August 8th, if you've seen her, if anything about this case connects to something you know, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police are asking you to come forward. Her family isn't asking for views. They're asking for her to come home. So here's the question we're leaving you with. If someone in your life suddenly started communicating differently, shorter answers, avoided calls, small details that didn't add up, would you notice as fast as this family did?